Rachel, welcome to Let's Be Frank. I'm so excited to have you here. We finally made it happen and got you on. It was a little bit of a whirlwind having AFW going on in between.
Yeah.
Let's talk about AFW. You looked incredible.
Thank you.
What a time to be in that space this year.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. There was definitely some online chatter around obviously fast fashion and who Fashion Week is for. And there was just, it got a bit overshadowed.
Yes.
And I think as someone who literally hand makes your pieces, I'm really interested to hear your take on all of that.
Oh, okay. First of all, thank you so much for having me here. I'm very excited. In terms of Fashion Week, damn, okay. I think this year was obviously straight chaos. Like in every way, shape and form.
New running, just everything.
Just everything. This year it was taken over by the Australian Fashion Council. I think last year and all the previous years as well, they were funded by a few different sponsors, IMG, Afterpay, PayPal. I think that might be it.
That's off the top of my head too.
So this year they had lost their sponsors, and when they had lost their sponsors, they had maybe 6 months to get the show together.
A quick turnaround.
Yeah. So being taken over by the Australian Fashion Council, they had mentioned that I think sustainability was a key part of a key element in production this year and something that they wanted to focus on. And I think I'm not quite sure that was translated in a lot of things this year. I also think that a lot of the media kind of took over Fashion Week.
Completely took over.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. All the Vox Pop questions and everything this year out the front just completely.
I think it's just coming from such a negative standpoint when it's something that's so positive.
Yes. It completely changed the narrative of what Fashion Week is about and allowed a lot of open criticism, which sometimes is really important.
Definitely.
Particularly around topics of sustainability, size inclusivity, and just diversity as a whole. That's incredibly important. But I also think there was a lot of conversations that were very hateful towards people this year. I know I got absolutely ripped to shreds in comment sections for my outfits.
Really? I didn't see that.
I got into, I won't mention the magazine, but I got into a TikTok interview and someone in the comment section, which is funny to look back on now, but someone in the comment section told me that I looked like I had gotten into an arts and crafts box with my eyes closed.
But love that.
Yeah, I was like okay, period.
Literally.
Love it.
Thank you.
Yeah. It was creative. Cool. I'll take it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the criticism this year, some of it was valid and some of it was just so completely unhinged, honestly. And I think people are so critical of what people wear at Fashion Week. And I think when you're so critical of that, it doesn't allow people to get creative with their looks.
I saw so many people walking in with anxiety.
Yeah.
And it's just it's not the space when everyone's meant to be expressing themselves, whether you agree with it or not.
Yeah. 100%.
Whether you think that's what's supposed to be there or not.
Yeah.
I think the media completely took over. Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's supposed to be celebrating Australian fashion of all extent and everyone's personal taste, whether you think it belongs there or not. I think it took away from the fact that we need to be platforming Australian fashion and Australian Fashion Week as a whole.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, just some of the questions were really well done. Mostly from a lot of the female interviewers, the questions were appropriate. I would say one of the questions that I got asked by a male reporter, completely inappropriate, asking me about my bra and underwear, asking me if my fiance feels okay with me leaving the house in sheer clothing.
That is so inappropriate.
So inappropriate.
To come from anyone.
Yeah.
Male, female, all of the other, it's not appropriate.
It was just pretty diabolical. So I think there definitely needs
How
to be
would
some.
you even respond to that? I just feel like,
I was
excuse me.
You know when you get the like flight or freeze response?
I freeze.
I was like,
I freeze. I'm sitting here being like, I would be like, excuse me.
Yeah.
Sorry, what did you just say to me? But in the moment, I'd be like,
I don't know. And then I was like, he's fine. He's literally fine with me leaving the house and anything. I got like a bit of attitude in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't think that'll come out in like a publication.
No, I don't think they're putting that one.
No, that one's going to get taken out.
Yeah.
But no, completely inappropriate questions this year. It was wild. The media completely took over.
And it's unfortunate because there is such a positive side to it, which I want to touch on as well. Like, to celebrate it as a whole, removing all that stuff that didn't need to be there. What was your experience at the shows, being there? Who inspired you for yourself and for EEYO?
I think my number one favorite show was Gary Begini.
Yeah.
Super colorful. Just, I'm very rarely like moved to tears from work. But there was just this kind of energy in the room that was just so incredible. Everyone at the end of the show got up and danced and was like,
that's so beautiful,
having a boogie on the runway. Like, it was honestly incredible, and just the whole energy in the room was just so inspiring. So I loved that show so much. I think it's also, from a fashion designer standpoint, when you see the way the models celebrated Gary on the runway when the show was complete, is such a big deal. Like, it was such a reflection on him as a person and how well loved he was and how genuinely he cared about the product that he was putting out. And I was like, oh, that's what I want to be. That's what I love. Like, that's the kind of energy that I want to channel. But yeah, loved his show, loved Carla Spetic. Very cool. She had some galaxy print things in her show, and I was like, oh, galaxy print is coming back.
Oh no.
I was like, oh, got to get my leggings out.
Yeah. I can't. Oh my God. If it's done well.
Yeah.
If anything's done well.
Yeah.
It's good.
Just right. But yeah, I think the range of designers this year was really impressive. I really loved the New Gen show.
It's
beautiful,
so good
beautiful designs.
time.
Yeah. And just so well done production-wise. The design's beautiful as always. I always like love looking at the textiles that everyone designs and the way they repeat patterns. I love looking at construction of garments on the runway as well. Yeah, a little bit nerdy in that sense.
I love it.
That's what I look out for when I'm on the runway and watching the shows. Yeah.
I know every time I've been to a Fashion Week show, I am just like in awe.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like the little kid that's like this watching because I can't fathom how people are that creative or that talented.
Yeah.
And just even thinking about all the people that goes into actually putting on the show is crazy. Like
100%.
The models, the hair, the makeup, obviously the designers, the assistants, the volunteers. Like, it's crazy.
100%. Even the hair and makeup for Nagnata this year, beautiful and so on brand. Like, I feel like it was kind of like slightly overlooked, but I just appreciated it so much. Obviously, Nagnata being like kind of a sporty brand. I think the show was a chance for them to rebrand into more like denim and ready to wear, like everyday pieces. Part of the show's makeup was super glowy skin and like an undone ponytail that was like a little bit messy but intentional.
Undone ponytail.
Oh my God, this is so cool because this is like exactly what I look like after I've done anything sporty. But it looked cool and intentional.
It looks so good.
Yeah.
A slick back doesn't suit me. So I'm like, I need the undone ponytails to come back, please. Because I can't pull off a slick back.
The loose like bohemian braid. The loose bohemian braid as well. Like, love that.
Yes. Let's bring that back, please. A messy bun. Make it acceptable.
The one on top of your head.
Yes, make it acceptable to leave the house again. Yes. Oh my God, I need it. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get into EEYO.
Yes.
Before the TikTok, before the red carpets, before Fashion Week, where did your love for fashion come from? Where did it start? Was it from childhood, or did it just randomly click one day?
I think so. I've always loved fashion. Like, truly, I don't think I've ever considered anything else in my whole life. Every single time I've adventured out into trying to do different things, I've always come back to fashion. It just feels like it's ingrained in me and it's just the path that I was meant to be on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think my earliest memories is being little, designing for my little Barbie dolls and my sister. We used to take like mum's old clothes and play dress ups and we'd do fashion shows and stuff.
Yeah.
Love it. And then, yeah, like I just didn't consider anything else because it just felt so right.
Yeah.
in where I was meant to be.
Yeah.
And then I think as I got older, I loved music videos. So a lot of my work is very heavily influenced by music. And I guess in a sense, so when I first started EEYO, this was like back in 2020, the whole pathway that I wanted to go down at that point in time was I wanted to do costume design.
Yeah.
Particularly for artists for their music videos. So when I was designing pieces exclusively based on the music that I was hearing and what I could picture in my mind.
That's
the
so
vibe
cool.
going forward. Yeah. So I did that for about 5 years. About 4 years, and worked with some really cool artists for Triple J Unearthed, and I worked with Tia Costello, which was so cool because I'd been listening to her music growing up. And yeah, did some costumes for Heartbreak High, which was really exciting. And then, I took the leap and decided to do ready to wear and launched my e-com business about a year ago now. My 1 year birthday is on the 1st of June. So
that's so exciting. Are you doing anything fun?
I think so. Yeah.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. But yeah, so definitely inspired by music. I think, like it felt like the right pathway to be on.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I love that. When did you start sewing? You mentioned something about your sister and your Barbies.
Yes.
You obviously started your Bachelor of Fashion when you were 17, which is crazy. That's so cool. When did you start sewing and what made you want to start making things for yourself and by hand?
I think I've always been very hands-on with everything in my life, very crafty, loved scrapbooking, loved doing everything.
Yeah.
I started knitting when I was about 9. And then my mum was like, we can't have these balls of wool everywhere around the house anymore, Rachel, please. I was like, okay. So I got a sewing machine for my birthday, for my 10th birthday.
Yeah.
And it was all, I'm going to say uphill from there. For my parents, it was probably downhill because there was fabric everywhere. Yeah.
I used to make dog bandanas.
Yep.
So like that's how I can relate to you. But it was a mess.
Yeah.
And I wasn't
hot mess.
I wasn't good at it. So it was just even bigger mess.
Yeah. So I've been sewing since I was 10, which is, oh my God, 15 years now.
That's crazy.
And I, particularly in the last 4 years, I've probably sewn every single day of my life.
Wow.
Yeah, which is crazy.
That's insane.
But I love sewing. I feel like it's almost like a problem solving thing and like a jigsaw puzzle. I love that it's like constantly figuring out what the next 5 steps ahead are.
Yeah.
And I think, that's just what I love about it.
You have to have so much patience. Yeah. And that's why it didn't work out for me because I do not have that.
No, I love that. I know. It can be very frustrating at times. You know, like when like you're trying to do your hair and then you just get so frustrated you want to bang yourself in the head with your hairbrush.
Yeah.
Like it's the same feeling with sewing sometimes. I'm like, I get so frustrated.
And everything is so small. I remember the most frustrating thing was when you thought it was stitching.
Yeah.
And then you pick it up and it wasn't. And I know there's a technical term for that. I don't know what it is, but that used to send me.
When the bobbin has run out.
Yeah.
Thread.
Yeah. And it looks like it's going and I've just done a whole strip in it.
No, I've done that many, many times. I've also like sewn without putting the foot down. So then it's like they call it like a bird's nest where your thread is just like a complete mess. Done that plenty of times and then you have to unpick it all, restart again.
And I
cry.
I can imagine like if you're sewing so many things a day, you just get so brain fried.
Yes.
Like anything. And you just start making silly mistakes that you don't ever make.
Yes.
And it just is happening and it's just 100%, a mess.
100%. But I think because so I started sewing when I was 10, went to uni. My college doesn't really teach you how to sew. It's more so the way that they were teaching things was kind of like self-led education. And so sewing was very much something that I knew the basics and they taught us the basics at uni, but it was kind of self-led. It was something that I had to figure out on my own, specifically stretch sewing. That is a whole different ball game. There's a whole different way to sew stretch. And then, once I graduated uni, I went and worked for a company who did, the cheerleading costumes and the gymnastics costumes all over in America. Yeah, all over in America. I used to make the costumes. I worked for a company that did them. So I did all the embellishments and sewing and things like that. All the bedazzling.
So cool. Many sequins.
So many sequins. So many tie-on-days everywhere. And then worked in different manufacturing studios, and then I went and worked in interiors for a really long time doing sewing. Favorite job ever. Absolutely loved working there. And then, because when you have your own fashion label, you can't actually work in fashion. Yeah. A lot of the times there's like an IP crossover that it doesn't work. Yeah, it just doesn't work. So I went and worked in interiors for a really long time, and the owners of the company were just the absolute best. Like they were just such beautiful people. I can't thank them enough for being so supportive. Yeah. And we still keep in contact to this day too. Beautiful. So love that.
Yeah.
But so lots of sewing in every way, shape and form. And I think this has definitely shaped the pathway that I'd want to go down with my brand as well. I think I definitely, if I didn't work in interiors, I wouldn't realize how much I loved it.
Yeah.
And I think a future for EEYO is that I would love to get into homewares and interior pieces too. I just think it would just be so cool.
I love it. And I'm always looking at interiors on Pinterest and I'm like, why doesn't that actually exist here?
Yeah.
Like, why can't I buy it?
Right.
So maybe I'll send you some customs for you to make one day down the line.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first thing you made and the first massive fail you had with handmade?
Oh, I actually can't remember. For some reason in my head, like.
What was the first piece you made that you were really proud of and you were like, yeah, I can do this?
Oh, probably an apron in home ec class in like high school. I think this must have been like grade 8 or something like that. Yeah. And it was like black with like orange straps and then like a pumpkin pocket.
Yeah.
Went for Halloween vibes. I have no idea why I did that. What the hell was I thinking?
Worked for the time.
Yeah. Yeah, she was cute at the time. But loved it at that point in time. Wore it everywhere. And then, I think, God, I look back on that now. I'm like, it was hanging on by a thread. Like there is no ways that it lasted as long as it did because it was not sewn well at all.
Learning.
Learning. Loved it. I think, oh God, my first. I've had so many like fails. Honestly, like I think it just comes with the nature of sewing. Like there's been times where I've made pants that have been like literally so tight that you can't even get your arm through them. And I'm like, oh, what the hell was I thinking?
What went wrong here?
Yeah. Or like making my like cutting out woven fabrics with stretch patterns without accounting for it being stretchy. Like it's just stupid stuff, really.
Yeah.
Like it's just, but it's like learning experiences.
Yeah, definitely. One thing I find really interesting about us being in this generation and your way of running your business and your style of fashion and sewing and going about everything is obviously it's so hyper digital and fast paced. How do you go about staying slow and making everything by hand and staying behind that?
I think staying motivated to keep things handmade. I just love that I can channel like an energy into a particular product. I love that each individual piece that I make has its own journey and own story, and it's going to a particular person. And in essence, I think every single piece is its own like individual, like it has its own story. it's unique to itself. It's not sewn exactly the same as every other piece.
Everyone knows they're getting something a little bit different.
Yeah. It's like almost tailored for them. Yeah. And I think having that magic still in the product is what motivates me to keep things slow and to keep, because I've only been doing kind of demand-driven drops. So only when people are, you know, obviously I'll open up like pre-orders and things like that if I've sold out. So I'm only ever making to what people want. And even then, if I've made myself a certain amount of stock, I'm only doing like 2 or 3 pieces per style. And then I'll only restock if there's people asking for it through messages and stuff like that.
This is a fun question. What is the weirdest place you've gotten inspiration from?
Oh,
like Woolies, color combo.
Yeah. Like, honestly, there's been like for my jelly print, my sugar print, I literally woke up from a dream and it was there. Like it was actually there in my head, ready to go.
And how did you not forget that? Because I forget all my dreams.
I literally woke up, I went straight to my iPad and I just went brain dump in there. And I literally like, that's the thing. Sometimes people ask me to share my design process. I'm like,
there's not a process.
There's not a process. I'll literally wake up and boom, it's literally right there. And so that's probably the weirdest one. The rest were all kind of like based on vibes of like music that I've listened to.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Have you ever had people doubt that handmade could stand out in this industry when everything is going so fast paced and trends in fast fashion are really taking over in this day and age?
Yeah, I think with products being handmade, often people can associate it with being like an arts and crafts project, or that it's like not as serious of a business or anything like that, which is so far from the truth, because everything in fashion is handmade.
Yeah.
Absolutely everything. There is no robots. There is no machinery that can do it for you. Even if there is, it's not doing it to the speed or you know, it's not helping humans be better. Sewing will forever be done by a human being.
Yeah.
Even with AI coming in and everything, my job is safe. But, I think it's just, people mistake it a lot of the times for being not as high value as something that perhaps comes from like a big factory, but it's so polar opposite. Like I'm cutting each individual top for you and sewing it for you. It's, you know, and I've honed almost 15 years of skills in sewing to make sure that it's done properly as well. So I think, and fast fashion, it's such a like nuanced conversation. Like it's just,
what needs to be said has been said a million times over, but it's just, there's also so many different sides to it, like what people can afford and what they can't afford. And
100%. I think when it comes to like sustainability, well, I say sustainability in the fashion world, I try to reframe the conversation about responsibility. So I think when we use sustainability in fashion, it kind of opens up a conversation that everything needs to be 100% perfect, which I don't think is possible.
No.
Yeah. Like from the minute that a top is made, like from gathering the sources to weave the fabric until the final product being shipped out to your front door, you can't control every single aspect in that production line.
And not one aspect in that is really truly sustainable.
Exactly. So when you shift to calling the conversation responsible or responsibility, it opens up that trying and making an effort is better than claiming to be 100% perfect all of the way.
Definitely.
And that's why I say even in like practice for your own personal shopping habits, responsibility is key, because sometimes there's so much pressure around being sustainable in fashion that it stops people from trying, I think.
Yeah.
You know, and responsibility is such a personal journey. What's going to work for me is not going to work for you. What's going to work for you is not going to work for anyone else. You know, it's such a personal journey that is like so dependent on so many different variables in your life. You're like your location, your accessibility, like what you like in clothing. It's just so many different avenues.
Yeah, there's so many different aspects that go into it.
And exactly.
Like, it's such a big conversation, but I think you hand making is just so cool.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sure there's so many people that do it, but it's not really shown.
Yes, 100%.
And that's why I think it's so cool.
Thank you. It's definitely, I honestly think it's probably one of my favorite parts of the business is sewing.
I think it's just like a point of difference as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it makes it personal. It personalizes the clothing.
Yeah.
People can picture me like sewing the pieces that they're wearing and they feel connected to it. Like,
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Let's go back to the origin of EEYO. We've touched on it a little bit, but everyone loves an origin story of where these brands come from.
Yeah.
Where did the name come from? It's so bold and fun, and I need to know how you thought of it.
Okay. This is the first time I've talked about it.
Oh, yeah.
So EEYO's a made-up word.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything, doesn't stand for anything other than just being a fun word, which is what I wanted. I wanted something short and sweet, memorable, and that because I didn't want it to be associated with my name. I wanted the brand to be able to stand on its own. And so, EEYO came about. I was watching a TikTok.
Love that.
I was watching a TikTok. This was like 2019. And this guy had posted a video of his chihuahua, and his chihuahua's name was EEYO. And I was like, that's a perfect brand name.
I love that. Shout out to that guy's chihuahua.
Yeah, honestly, love it. And I feel like it just perfectly encapsulates the chaotic nature of my brand.
Too, yeah.
Like it's just,
and there's nothing like it out there. Like I feel like I'm going to say this so many times, but I genuinely mean it.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, I've never seen anything like this before.
Thank you.
And I love it.
Thank you. But yeah, I think I've never been able to find the TikTok again. So if anyone can find it, please send it my way. I don't even think like it was spelt the same. I just I'd sounded it out and I was like, cool.
That works.
Love it. That works.
Cool. When did it shift for you from being like a hobby, being a hobby, or just sewing and fashion being a hobby, to this could be my career?
I think so. I did an internship with a place called Practice Studio in Brisbane. They're like an emerging designer studio / alteration place. The lady Kat that runs it, absolutely beautiful person. Like she is so supportive of every single emerging designer that comes through. So I had an amazing opportunity to go and do 100 hours of interning with her. And part of my project while interning with her was to design a product that we could sell in the store. And that was the first time that I got to play around with doing my own textile prints. And so I did these pants called the Orb pants. Yeah. They were these big like pink and orange like circle pants. They were so cool. And I think it was in that moment where I realized like, oh my God, like I think I really enjoy making my own textile prints. And I think I'm kind of onto something here. Like, because this was late 2019 that I had made them. And then 2020, they got into the store, I think it was like March-ish, towards the end of my internship. And then literally throughout the COVID pandemic, there was all these brands that just completely jumped on the like gradient style, textile prints and everything like that. There was, I think it was Gimmigaus, I think that's how you say it. She had literally done this like bandeau dress, maxi dress that was almost the exact same print as my pants. I'm not saying that she like copied me or anything like that. It was literally coincidental, but I was like, oh, like I'm onto something here. Like I'm like ahead of something. Like this is like cool. And then went in, because I think my frustration was that I love designing, but I could never find the right fabrics. And I kept having a vision in my head of like what I wanted, but I could just never find the pieces to put it all together. And so when I realized that I could make my own fabrics and print my own textiles, I was like, hell yeah.
This is it.
This is it. I'm onto something now. So yeah, pretty much.
That's how it started. Yeah. Just getting over that roadblock to be like, okay, I can do this now.
100%.
You call the brand Playful Fun and Wearable Chaos, I've seen online, which I love. What do you hope that people see your brand identity, and how did you find that brand identity for yourself?
I think the brand identity is very much an extension of me and very much, the energy that I'm trying to channel into everyday life. When people ask me how to describe my brand, it very much, I always came to like a little bit of a roadblock because I just didn't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not couture, I'm not evening wear, I'm not active wear, I'm not festival wear. You could wear it to a festival, but it's not exclusively for a festival, you know? So I've kind of come up with my own category of calling it dopamine wear. And basically the whole vibe behind wearing my pieces is that it's just meant to make you happy and joyful and just it's meant to be fun and lighthearted and cool.
Have you ever felt pressure to make your brand and your pieces more commercial and palatable? And how do you resist that?
Yeah, I think actually a lot of like unsolicited advice that I get is to, why don't you make your clothing in plain colors because that's what sells?
Yeah.
And a lot of the times my answer is no. I think you can get my pieces in plain colors probably anywhere, to be honest.
Yeah.
But what makes my pieces special is my prints and the fun vibes and the chaos and everything about it. And I think that's what people come to me for. I think if people wanted plain, like you can literally look anywhere and it's there. But I wanted people to find like a niche, fun place, and that's what I only want it to be that. You know, I get a lot of requests to be like, hey, can you make this in a like solid color? And I just like, I don't want to sacrifice my brand identity and who I am for the sake of a sale.
No.
And, you know, I'm making everything myself now. I've pretty much sold out of everything at least 2 to 3 times and done restocks.
Yeah, that's so
the product is selling.
Yeah.
So
there's no need.
There's no need. And the same effort it takes for me to make a top in like plain black, I could make it in the print, which people are going to buy anyways. Yeah. So it's like, you know.
You're completely one-woman show. Yes. Let's talk about that. You're filming, packing, obviously creating, designing, the business side, the financial side, the boring stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Yes. What does your average week look like if there is one general average week that you have?
It honestly varies week to week, but also because I do content creation as well.
Yeah, for yourself.
So there's a lot of filming, like every single day of everything.
And that is draining.
It is, and like it's not necessarily like the actual like filming of things, but like sitting down and editing it.
Yeah.
And then TikTok is very particular about the posting times of things. Like if you like, it's just
to figure that out.
It's a hot mess. It's a hot mess over there. So if you're not consistent with it, then you shadow banned. So it's like making sure that you're like always onto it as well.
Yeah.
But I think I'm peak organizer in everything that I do. Like I literally have an entire wall in my studio where it's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
That was my next question. Are you like color-coded sticky notes? Or you organize chaos?
That is me.
Yeah.
And then like everything is, even when I'm manufacturing my pieces, everything is organized into baskets of like color-coded, size-coded. Everything is just peak organized.
I mean, especially if you're doing it yourself, handmaking it yourself, there's so much room for mistake.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of room to make the mistake without it costing
100%.
a lot.
Yes.
So I can imagine like that's a necessity.
Yes.
What has been the hardest part of doing it all yourself?
I think honestly the financial side of it, I don't have like any investors or anything like that. I've made sure that I've wanted to do it like completely self-funded. So I saved up a bunch of my money, invested it into the business, and then have slowly been paying off like just everything. The cash flow, I think, just maintaining, especially with my fabric purchases, like I'll do like almost $4,000 in fabric that I have to buy. And then I have to wait like 3 weeks for myself to make the product. And then I have to do a photo shoot with it and then market it, sell it. And that's, so it's like, I'll do this like big chunk of like spending on the business, but that money's not coming back to me for like 6 weeks at least. No. So it can be very, very difficult. Yeah,
I can imagine. Have you ever had moments where you've hit burnout or you've had to like step back and reassess what's in front of you?
Yes. I think many times. My record was 48 tops in 2 days.
What?
Yeah.
How long does a top take you to make?
I budget about an hour, from cutting to finish. But the more I do, the faster I get. And then I think also working in manufacturing, most of my career, it's taught me to be a fast seller as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less than an hour. But yeah.
That's crazy.
Insane. I don't think I slept very well.
Yeah, no. Do you have a show on, or you a podcast or music?
Yeah.
Obviously a little bit of music, but.
Oh my God, I love watching Schitt's Creek, on Netflix. Yeah.
Stop. I love Schitt's Creek so
It is
much.
so good. It is my favorite show ever. I think I've watched it maybe 7 times.
I love it.
It's my favorite. That and The Get Down, which is
I haven't seen that.
Oh my God, so good. It is based on a group of teenagers in the Bronx in the, I think it's late 80s to early 90s, and the change from disco to hip hop.
Okay.
And it's kind of semi based on true facts and people and stuff like that.
I can just imagine the fashion in
oh
that
my God,
as well.
Incredible.
Time era.
Yeah. It's just so cool. And the soundtrack, chef's kiss.
I need to get on it.
Yeah.
How do you keep your spark when the practical side of things take over, whether it be the finance? I mean, I know I'm more of a creative person than a financial business side of person. I can picture you're the same. How do you keep your spark flowing when that stuff starts to take over? Because you obviously do have to dedicate time to it.
Yeah. I think, I just music all the time. I usually dedicate days to doing the boring stuff. I'm okay, today's not going to be a great day. And I know that because I have to do paperwork.
Yeah, you have to do it.
I have to do paperwork. But yeah. And then, I think organizing days where I can dedicate time to be boring and dedicate time to be fun. So I'll have a day where I'm adventuring out into the city, buying new art supplies, painting, watercolor, buying a million bloody alcohol markers so I can color things in and everything like that.
The balance.
Yeah, just finding balance, I think, with it. And also whenever you feel creative, sometimes it'll be 9 o'clock at night and it'll be I just have this burst of creativity come through me. I'm okay, cool, get to the studio, and I just brain dump everything out onto paper and just it's there so that I know I can come back to it when I'm ready. And
so you don't forget.
Yeah.
Do you ever see yourself eventually building a team for EEYO?
Yes. I'm actually in this point in time in my business now where I feel I need to hire someone to help me. I think the sewing is getting a lot, and the demand, I guess, for social media posts as well. You have to be
even just for your
it.
personal as well.
It's it's so full on. So I definitely need some help. But I think, eventually I would love to have a team. I'd love to basically have someone run the business for me, do all the stuff that I find boring.
So you can just do the creative stuff.
Create, and I would love to bring more manufacturing and sewing roles to Brisbane as well. More manufacturing companies. We just need more of those positions in Brisbane.
Definitely.
Yeah. So
definitely. I want to talk more about your personal, because obviously we have all these incredible conversations about EEYO, but you also are pretty big on TikTok.
Thank you.
I want to talk about the type of content you create, how you got into that and all of the above. So how did you land in content creation?
Oh my gosh. So I've kind of always had an interest for it. Back in 2014, I had a Tumblr and I used to post pictures of my outfits on there.
I missed that time.
Oh.
I wasn't a part of it.
Golden time. I was one of those girls where loves the Frankie magazine, loved this, who was an influencer at the time. Her name was Shelby Hamilton. She was the it girl.
Yeah.
So cool. She's what introduced me to Sonny Angels as well. Obsessed.
I am yet to buy one or indulge in that. And I'm kind of glad, because I feel like I don't have the funds to support that addiction right now.
I know. But so loved it since then. And then I think my friends at school found my Tumblr account and I was oh, gotta delete it now. Like, I don't want anyone to look at me. And then COVID times, I refused to download TikTok and I would only watch it on my boyfriend's phone. I was like, I'm not downloading this app. No. I'm not going to fall down the TikTok hole. Not doing it. And then it got so bad where it was like I was watching like TikTok compilation videos on YouTube where I was like still watching TikToks, but I just like refused to download it. So I was like, fine, I give in. Like, I'm just going to download the app. Yeah. So downloaded it and posted a TikTok, like a few stupid ones, just like of me and my boyfriend, just like dancing or whatever.
Yeah, doing the dances at the time.
And then I think it was like the first COVID lockdown and I posted a video of me sewing on my mum's dining table and woke up the next day and I had like 15K followers. Wow. And I was like, what the hell?
That is crazy.
Like, this is wild. And then just like everyone was like tutorial. And I posted my first tutorial and it just went bananas, like literally.
And what was that experience like? I mean, I imagine waking up with 15,000 people watching you would be so daunting when you weren't planning for it.
Yeah, 100%. And I was like, I think I was like 18 or 19 at the time. Like, it was just wild experience. It was just, I actually couldn't believe that like that many people were perceiving me as like a real person.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, like this, I actually can't even like put into words the feeling of it. It was like exciting and scary. And I was like, oh my God. Just insane. And then kept posting my sewing videos and things like that. And at that point in time, I think I was in my second or third year of uni. So I was like finally doing my sewing classes, which I was allowed to go back to campus for in between the lockdown breaks. And I would post like little outfit checks on campus. And I think at that time, everyone was like lapping up the whole fashion student thing. Like, it was just really exciting.
Because everyone was at home. And I feel like everyone started doing random little hobbies.
Yes. And so a lot of people were picking up the sewing machine as well, because Spotlight was the only place that was open as well during the lockdowns too. Truly. So people picked up sewing, and then eventually I decided, okay, I want to start my own business with this. How can I make money from it? And so because I wasn't getting any brand sponsorships at that point, I didn't even know how to do that. Like, it was a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
And then, so I turned to Etsy and I did my first ever digitalized clothing pattern so that people could basically make what I was making in the videos, but print it from home. Like, you didn't have to do anything or go outside or anything like that. And I had posted the link in my bio and I hadn't even announced that I was selling anything yet. And I think in the first like hour, I'd done like $700 in sales, which is absolutely insane. And then, like, it just blew up. The minute I posted my next tutorial and was like, hey guys, now I'm selling the patterns. You can do this at home too. Yeah. And just insane. And it just popped off. And then, I've like slowly grown my account. And then I closed down the Etsy business. I did, I think, over 6,000 sales.
Wow.
Which is like, when I look back on it now, I'm like, wow, that was actually like a pretty big business. Like that was like crazy. And at 19 as well. Insane.
Especially if you weren't planning on it.
No. Like this, crazy. It was only ever meant to be like, oh, like I honestly didn't think anyone would even buy it. Like from me, I was like, what in the world? And it ended up being way bigger than I ever thought it would be. And then, it just, because it wasn't really something that I like wanted to do, I wanted to like be a fashion designer. Yeah. I decided to close down that business. And then, opened up EEYO for the first time. I was doing like custom orders and stuff like that. And then, so I've just been like progressively growing it over the years. And now these days I kind of lean more into doing like fashion and beauty and outfits and makeup and all that sort of stuff, and then leave the business and sewing stuff to my EEYO accounts. Yeah.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah.
How do you think EEYO has shaped your identity, both personally and professionally?
Ooh, it's taught me a lot of like patience and just like being able to put me first and what I create first. I think, I guess it goes back into the conversation of people being like, oh, you should do like plain stuff. I'm like, or why would I do things to fit in with what other people want?
Give you that self-confidence and self-assurance.
Yeah. So I guess it's pretty much done that for me.
Yeah. Have you ever had moments within the business and personally where you had to check in with yourself and ask yourself, is this still me? Do I still like this?
Yeah. I think definitely when I first launched into the e-com space and I did my first ever print and stuff like that, I was very nervous. I was like, this is very different. This is not what's kind of out there. It felt like I was taking a bit of a risk, and it took a little while to kind of pick up in sales. Understandably, like I was literally just like a small business just starting out and stuff like that. And I had to pull in and be like, am I doing the right thing? Like, am I going down the right pathway with this?
And it's so hard to not question yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
Whether this is something that I just like or something that everyone's going to like. Do I care about that?
Yeah, 100%. And also just like, okay, like, is this like design blindness? Like, do I think this is cute because I've made it? Or is
I get
this
that
like
all the time.
Is this like the fuggliest thing ever and like everyone's too scared to tell me? Like,
I get that all the time, even just like with the clothes I'm wearing. I'm like, is this outfit cute? Or am I just
like blind?
Literally blind. Has your definition of success changed since you started?
Yes. I think when I first started, success to me was very much in the numbers.
Yeah, it's easy to get.
It's so easy to get caught up in the numbers and the figures. But I think true success is like building a community. I felt success when I had people reaching out and being like, oh, I saw this today and this is so EEYO. Or, hey, I saw this on Instagram. Oh my God,
I literally made a TikTok about this the other day. I was like, when people say this is so your vibe.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's like, oh my God, I've done something right. Yeah. That's when I felt successful because I'm like, oh,
you've created a personality for this brand.
Yes. And like people get it. Like people are understanding what I'm trying to communicate. So that's when I was like, oh, that's what success is. I couldn't ask for anything more. Like,
and it's so easy to get caught up and miss the milestones that other people see. Yeah. But you're just like, what's next? So those little moments are so important as well.
100%.
If you could go back to 17-year-old you and tell her something, anything, what would it be?
Or probably stand up for yourself, girl. Like, stand up. No, I think, I was like a little bit afraid I was very much in my comfort zone, very much scared to push against people pleaser tendencies. Like I needed to stand up and like stand up for myself and understand that like I was onto something, like it's okay and needed to grow. So
if you could dress anyone in EEYO, who would it be? Celebrity, icon, influencer, fictional character, whoever you want.
Oh my God. Oh gosh, Dua Lipa for sure. For sure, Dua Lipa.
I love her.
She has amazing style and I think she would look so cool in EEYO. But probably Dua Lipa is like my number one. Like
I'm
just
see a tour outfit.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. I want to jump back a couple of pages quickly to talk about you designing and creating for Heartbreak High.
Yes,
because I just think you told me that before we started, but I was genuinely in shock. I was like, what? Like, how did that opportunity even come about?
Oh my gosh, insane. So basically, after the first season, loved it. Fell head over heels for the show, like obsessed. And I realized that it was filmed in Sydney. So I was like, oh, the cast and crew, like obviously Australian based.
Yeah.
So my boyfriend, well, fiance now, but my boyfriend at the time, he worked in film. So I kind of knew like all the terminology and like what to look for and stuff like that. And so basically I found the IMDb profile of the costume designers for the show.
Yeah.
And I found her on Instagram and she only had like 1,000 followers or something like that. And I was like, oh, she's for sure going to read her messages if I send her a message. So send her a message. She was like super keen to get involved. She's like, message me in 6 months' time because that's when we're going to start filming.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, okay. So I'm like,
this is real.
Yeah, I set in my calendar for like 6 months' time. And at that point in time, 6 months had come around and I was in Bali. And I get this message from another person because I thought at that point in time, oh, they've like obviously forgotten. And I'm like, do I message? Am I like being annoying? Like, what do I do? And so I got this message from another lady who like I'd never really heard of her before, but turns out she was like new to the costume design team, I think.
Yeah.
So she sent me a message and was like, basically, hey, we want you in the show for costumes for season 2. Like, what have you got and how quick can you get it here? I was like, well, so I flew home like 2 days later after the Bali trip and I was like, hey, here's like a product catalog. I honestly, everything at that point in time was all samples. Like I wasn't like definitive that I was like going to release these products. It was all samples.
Yeah.
And so I just sent her that and I was like, oh, just like pick something like
please.
I like really want to be in there. And then, so they chose 9 pieces, I think, all up. And
which is crazy.
Yeah.
You were praying for 1.
Yeah.
And they did 9.
Yeah. Insane. So I did all of that for them and then, sent that over. And so I think I landed on the Wednesday. By the time I had sent out the product catalog and everything like that, I think they needed it on the Friday afternoon all the way in, I think it was Melbourne, the office, or Sydney. And so, I had to whip up everything in like less than a day, send it out.
Your holiday was cut short. I'm sure your mind was just ticking.
I was just like, no, I need to get home and I need to do this. Like, you know, and basically when you do work for TV shows like that, it's not 100% guaranteed that you'll get in as well. Like you can provide costumes and things like that, but you won't know until the show comes out. And so basically I think it was.
So I bet you binged it when it came out.
Yeah. I think it was like over a year that I had to wait for the show to come out. And every day I was like, please, 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 please put me in there. And watched the whole show and I didn't see my pieces in the show until the very last episode.
Okay, but way to keep you on the edge of your seat.
I know.
Like genuinely, way to keep you on the edge of your seat.
So it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I think the show had come out at 6 o'clock that night on Netflix. Binge watched the entire thing and it got to like 1 o'clock in the morning.
It was also really easy to binge watch.
Yeah.
Like, let's
100%.
be real.
Such a good show. But 1 o'clock, I was like, oh my God.
And I bet you had lost hope by that point. You're like, okay. Like
I was like, it just accepted defeat. I was like, and then I saw it on the TV screen. I was like, oh.
Everyone wake up. Everyone wake up.
Yeah, my fiance had gone to bed and I like woke him up. I'm like, EEYO's in Heartbreak High. EEYO's in Heartbreak High. Like, wake up. And like it was so cool. It was honestly the coolest thing ever. And so I posted on Instagram about it and then messaged the girls and they were so, so lovely. Like
that is
absolute
so
dream
exciting.
team. Yeah.
That is so exciting, especially for someone new and up and coming and just like anyone. Like that experience is so cool, especially on such a huge TV show and a 100%. TV show that you love.
Yeah. Major moment.
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I was starstruck. Because of that, I was like, oh, okay.
It's so cool.
Is there a space you want to see EEYO in one day, whether it's a gallery, runway show,
Oh
anything?
my gosh. I would love to do the Next Gen show for Fashion Week. I think that would be so cool. Obviously, I'd love to like have my own Fashion Week show as well.
Yeah.
But I think for now, Next Gen for sure.
And what an amazing opportunity being surrounded by so many other great young Australian designers as
100%,
well.
100%. Like when you're surrounded by people that are like you, it's so inspiring. Like everyone that's in like small business and just designing and just having fun. Like coming back from Sydney Fashion Week, there was an independent runway just before the actual Australian Fashion Week. And just the designers there, like their energy was so contagious. Like it was just so fun to be around. I was like, oh my God, like I need to be around this more often.
Yeah.
It's just so cool.
It just motivates you.
Yeah.
It just reignites the passion.
Yeah.
I think
100%.
Well.
100%.
Where do you hope to see EEYO in 5 years? Like best case vision board level.
Mm-hmm. Best case, I would love to have like a full-on manufacturing company set up in Brisbane, like with at least like I want to say like 12 staff members running socials, everything like that. I would love to take on interns and things like that as well. I think
give people the opportunities.
Yes, and particularly in learning how to sew. I think there's not many opportunities for that or people aren't really interested as much these days to sew and get like hands-on in the fashion industry,
Yeah.
but I think it's such a valuable skill that like it needs to be passed on to the new generations coming through.
I always wish I could make my own clothes because I see things on Pinterest and I'm like, I'm never going to find that. I feel like if I knew how to sew, I could make it myself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a skill I wish I had.
Yeah.
I wish I stayed in textiles after year 7.
Love it. No.
We are going to finish with some rapid fire questions.
Oh my God, okay.
So easy. The hard questions are done. I'm going to read out these questions and you're just going to answer with the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
So short and sharp.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay.
Whatever you're thinking. If EEYO was a color, what would it be?
Oh, pink.
I agree. Dream collab, fashion, music, art. Anyone?
Dua Lipa.
Yeah, we did kind of. Yeah. We got that, didn't we?
Actually, and Sonny Angels. I want to make little EEYO Sonny Angels.
That would actually be iconic.
Yeah.
I can picture it. I actually can picture it.
Yeah.
Something that's always on your mood board.
Something pink.
More nerve-wracking, launching a collection or posting a personal TikTok? Something that's personal to you.
Personal TikTok.
You're just so vulnerable. Like you're opening yourself up to get shot. Yeah. Like genuinely.
Literally the TikTok comment section is my number one enemy.
The filtered comments?
Yeah.
Done. Actually done. Like,
no. I'm like, I actually can't do it. I get scared whenever I get the notification being like 12 comments. I'm like, whoa.
Literally, nope. I went from blonde to a darker blonde and I did a transition and I was waiting for, this isn't even brunette. Like someone commented before and I was like, okay, that's fair. But like, guys, come. Like, but people are so funny about it. Yeah. How they go about hating. Like, you can't even be mad about it.
No. Like, some of the like the person that said that I dress like I had gotten into an arts and crafts box with my eyes closed. I was like, rude. Second of all, so fair. Like, so valid.
But also, like, thank you. It's just how you look at it. It's like what point of view you're coming from. Anyway, one item in your wardrobe you'll never let go of.
Probably all my EEYO pieces.
Yeah. Of course. You have to.
Yeah.
If EEYO had a theme song, what would it be?
Oh.
That's like a hard question.
Yeah, that is a hard question. Probably, you know what? I'm just going to say Hallucinate by Dua Lipa because that's what's coming to my head.
Did you go to her concert?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I got that vibe. I got that vibe.
I'm Dua Lipa number one fan.
I love her live.
Yeah.
I just listened to on Spotify all of her live versions because the energy.
She's just so cool. Like she's just like effortlessly cool and she's like so intelligent. She's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Have you seen her engagement ring recently?
No, but I saw that she got it. I only saw that she got engaged. Like how the news got broke to me is because I saw a TikTok being like, I'm sorry, boys, but she's engaged now. Like, you're not going to get her. And I was like, really?
Yeah.
Like, fair, but guys.
I know. Beautiful ring like that she has. I'm like, oh my God, that's stunning.
I can't wait to see the wedding.
Yeah, I know, right?
Wedding of the year.
Yeah.
What is a trend that you wish you could pull off or a style of clothing?
Oh, you know, I like really love the big 70s sunglasses, like the massive ones. Like they're just so cool.
And they are coming back.
Yeah, 100%. But I just feel like I look like a fly. Like
that's so valid. Oh my God.
I'm like, I look like a fly when I'm
oh my God, that's so valid. They just don't sit on my nose properly. No. I just can't.
Yeah.
Okay, final question. And you probably will have to think about it.
Yeah.
If your life right now was a Pinterest board, what would the title be?
I'd just say eclectic cool girl summer vibes.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Very colorful. I'm picturing lots of like pink and turquoise
sequins
vibe.
Yeah.
Yay. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been amazing.
I know. It's so much fun, isn't it? Just at the end of the day. No, genuinely though, it's so exciting. Yeah. I was so excited coming across your page. I was like, wow, this is so cool.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
And then just watching I'm just so excited for the Australian fashion space and just for new energy to come through. Like I'm 100%. So ready for new energy to come through. Yeah. New vibes, like walking into shopping centers. I'm so excited for there to be each store having something different, not each store having the same thing in a different font. Yeah. Like it gets so annoying when I'm like, so I need an outfit, but I've worn all of this before. Yes. So I'm so excited for new voices in Australian fashion to be coming 100%. Up.
There's some really exciting emerging designers coming through. Yeah. It's very, very exciting.
And we need a refresh. Yes. And so I'm so excited for that to happen. And I'm so excited to see you be a part of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. You've been an amazing host.
Thank you.
No, I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yay.